the truth, but he's out of, and when he walked home, his wife said, how glorious was the king when he uncovered himself in front of the daughters of Israel today. You ever experienced something with God and somebody you love did not appreciate it? That's not easy. That's tough. But David said it very well, and I encourage you to read the rest of this chapter later on today. When his wife criticized him dancing before the Lord, his response was not, how dare you judge me? Because when people judge me, we've got 4 ladders back here. And the other day I was carrying one out and was going to get a ball looking for somebody. But I was just waiting, you know, I'm dead now. I was just waiting. Nothing worse than a dead preacher I ever had enjoyed. Especially when it's 10 after 12 and folks are daydreaming about going to the donut shop. It's not open. Get over it. Already checked. They're closed up shop. You gotta wait. Well, I have absolutely no idea what I was saying. Ladders! Carrying a ladder through. I was just waiting for them to say, what are you doing? I'm going to wait for the first person that judges me and I'm going to hand it to them. Say, what's that? He said, get over it. You know what I mean? So it wasn't David worrying about what people thought. He said to his wife very clearly, it was before the Lord. I want to tell you the qualifying factor in whether a form of praise and worship is acceptable or not is it before the Lord or is it for people? If you're dancing so I can see you, sit down and shut up. But if it's before the Lord, then dance with all your might. If you're shouting so I can hear you, you're not going to outshout me. Quit trying to impress me. I shout loud. But if you're shouting for Jesus, then rattle the rafters for Him. If you're lifting those hands so somebody will say, ooh, he's spiritual. Go fly, cat. But if you're lifting those hands because you're hoping Jesus will take notice, then if it's before the Lord, do it. And be passionate about it. Now let me warn you. There is a danger that we worry about getting in the flesh if we're up, so we sit down. We don't want to raise our hands in the flesh, so we keep them down. We don't want to dance in the flesh, so we sit. But there is a danger that we could be just as in the flesh while sitting and criticizing and looking around as we could be if we're doing something else. The text tells us, and I'm closing, that we ought to passionately praise Him if we want His presence with us. And I want to challenge you, friend, to learn how to praise Him to the point that you may feel a little bit foolish and you may think people may be watching, but you are certain that it is before the Lord and it is for Him, and you're not doing it to be an interruption, but you are here to glorify Jesus with all your heart and with all your soul, and He will receive that. In fact, Psalm 22 and verse 3 implies that He will come and live inside that praise. He inhabits our praises. Get His attention and say, God, here I am. I like what David said in the King James Version. He said to his wife, I'll become even more vile than this. Some modern translations have toned it down a little bit and used the word undignified, but I'll take that even. David says, yes, my activity is not very dignified. I will grant you that it is not real kingly. It doesn't look real pastoral for me to dance until my hair ends up 1,700 directions. I'm sure it's not real businesslike if you want to roll around in the floor. But David said, I may be the king, but it's before the Lord. And I will become even more undignified than this. He said to her, sweetheart, if this bothers you, I'm sorry, but I'm going to dance before Him with all of my might because He's worthy. Amen. Well, we're going to close this morning. And I believe that the Lord is wanting to challenge some of us to allow Him to set up a habitation of His manifest presence in our lives so that we can walk with Him and we can experience Him at every moment, that He'll be there. Thank God. Would y'all stand with me? Sister Zelda, y'all can help me.